Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh, man, you better bring the energy. That's what I'm going to say to you. You better bring it, because that's what we're about today. I do this show, and I tell people I kind of do this show kind of like Good Morning Vietnam. If you've ever seen the movie with Robin Williams, it's kind of big and it's bold, and I do it because I want to bring the energy not only to my guests and me, but you as a viewer and a listener. I want to bring some energy to you. Right? And if you ever watched earlier episodes, and this is episode 303, by the way, if you ever watched any earlier episodes, you'll see that I'm so excited. I'm shaking, right? And my son had to tell me, Dad, you need to just pull it back a little, okay? Because it's too much for us. We aren't ready for that. So we've pulled it back, and I still get occasionally some people go, you're still a little hot there, mister. And not referring to my looks, but referring to my how I go about doing this. But we bring energy into everything that we do. And what kind of energy do you bring into work today? I think that's a really good question. I think my guest, who's going to be on in just a few minutes, Rebecca Ahmed, I think she's going to probably say that's a pretty good question. What kind of energy did you walk in today? And then what kind of energy are you giving off if you're listening to me in midday, which you are, right? And where should you be when it comes to your level of energy? Those are questions we probably don't ask ourselves because we're not generally very self-aware of those questions when it comes to our own energy. We just kind of go through the motions of this is what I do. I go to my work, I get up, I do my routine, I get up and I move and I go. Rebecca Ahmed is going to walk us through the energy of success. And today, and I just want to tell you something. I love this book. I love this book. I found it to be very powerful. I found it to be one of those books for myself personally was challenging. What level of energy am I? I thought service was pretty good, but it's not good enough. And you say, well, Jay, wait, no, I could be better. We all could be better. And I think this is the power of the book. Are you happy where you're at with your energy that you're giving off to others and radiating to others? Or do you want to get better? Because that's what she's going to point out, that there's a choice here. And I think it's really awesome. And so before we get to Rebecca, let's do what we do every week, right? We're a four-part people. We're physical, mental, emotional, spiritual people. And we are never stagnant. And this falls just so hand in hand with Rebecca's work. You know what? If you're not growing, you're dying. And we want to grow in every area of our life. And so what we do on this show is we rate you on a scale of 1 to 10 in each area, 1 being, 10 being, woo, couldn't get any better, right? So physically, how would you rate yourself? 5 being average on, getting enough exercise, eating right, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep. How would you rate yourself? Now, listen, whatever the number is, I don't want you to get upset and say, oh, I'm a loser. No. It's a starting point for how we can improve. Okay? So if you showed up with a 3 today, all right, what can we do to get to 3.5? Right? Not a 10. Just a 3.5, all right? And let's build from there, okay? Second, okay, so that's your first number, right? Second number is your mental intellectual number, right? The fact of the matter is we can't be a couch potato and just sit and hopefully absorb information and somehow we're going to change. No, we got to take active steps to do it. Reading a book is great. Listening to a book, and I know Rebecca will agree with me, listening to a book is awesome, but you know what will make it more awesome? Is if when you're done listening, you wrote down 3 things or a couple things from what you listened to go, oh, I need to apply that. Yeah, she said it, action, right? Because learning requires action. If we want to grow in wisdom and knowledge and understanding of who we are and what we do and the world around us, we can't just read it. We got to put some steps to it. Got to put some action to it. How would you say you're doing in that area? A scale of 1 to 10, 5 being average. Okay. That's your second number. Third number is the emotional number. And listen, you know me, a psychological professional. I love Daniel Goleman, and I love his work on emotional quotients and emotional intelligence. It's real simple, though. Here's how it breaks down. One, how well are you able to control your emotions under stress and pressure? Like when you're hangry, right? And then two, how well are you able to tap into and understand the emotions of another person? By the way, I know Rebecca will agree with me on this because I've read it in her book. If you can't empathize with somebody, you're not tapping into and understanding the emotions of another person. And it's absolutely critical for you to be successful, to power up your productivity, to transform your habits, to maximize your workplace motivation. How can you do that if you're not tapping into and understanding the emotions of the people around you? Can't. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say where you think you are? Okay, that's your third number. Final number, spiritual. A lot of you are going to go, I'm not a real spiritual person. We are. You just don't see it that way. Okay, but we are spiritual. We all live by faith. We all took a sip of the coffee this morning, believing it wasn't going to be poisonous. We all pushed our button in our cars, believing that it would start. We all saw the sign that said walk, and we walked, believing the cars wouldn't hit us. We made plans for the future, believing that they're going to happen, even though they haven't happened yet. So we all walk by faith, but then we connect with each other on a level that's beyond the physical, the emotional, and the intellectual. It's a spiritual thing where we are connected, and we all are looking for something that connects us when our chaos is in our world, where we can find peace and understanding, whether that's God or meditation or nature or something else. And then I ask the question, is it working for you? And if it's not, what do you got to do to change it? Right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your spiritual level working? Right? Those 4 areas are like the air in the tires of your car. If one tire is flat, you know what happens? It's hard to steer the car, isn't it? And if all 4 tires are flat, you're going to ruin the car over time. And so we want to have the right air pressure in all our tires. And speaking of someone who does that, her name is Rebecca Ahmed. She's an award-winning speaker, business consultant, professional certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. Her deep real-world expertise derives from a decade plus as an HR professional and leader at some of the largest hospitality and travel organizations worldwide. You may have heard of some of these: Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, Marriott Autograph Collection, Pinnacle Entertainment, Allegiant Airlines. I don't know, probably heard some of those. Today, Rebecca advises companies of all sizes on how to create a motivational workplace culture by transforming the energy and enthusiasm of their teams. Under her direct supervision, Allegiant Airlines won Glassdoor's Best Places to Interview Award. In Acceptance Award, Rebecca was featured as panelist, Hire the Best Talent Fast, and How to Optimize your employee brand and candidate apply process. Caesars Entertainment still loves her, right? And Rebecca is proud to share her fight on cheer from the University of Southern Cal, and she has a master's degree from UNLV in Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, and welcome for the first time, and I don't think the last, Rebecca Ahmed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this book that I love so dearly and that I found just enjoyable, I'm just going to dig right in. I opened the show talking about the energy that we bring in. How do we define our personal energy, or how do you define personal energy so that people can have a sense of what that is?
Absolutely. So personal energy is the amount of vigor or capacity you bring to a situation. And I love this because when you look at the scientific definitions of stored energy, moving energy, kinetic energy, we understand this from a chemical standpoint, a solar standpoint, but we all know what it feels like when someone comes in, like you said, Jay, and they're coming in hot. And if they're coming in hot, though, and they're excited, you feel that warmth all over you. You feel it when you walk into a restaurant. Ooh, the ambiance is nice, right? You feel it when someone's angry. You're like, whoa, I got to get out of here. That's some negative energy. I got to get out of here. We all know this feeling, but putting the tangible definition, and I love how you started with this, because people really need to understand that you have control of this energy, and you not only like exude it, but you feel it. And that's why you can understand how you can shift it and make choices to sit in whatever you're experiencing, or make choices to move out. And I love how you started. I just have to share, because I got back from Tortola yesterday, and you use this tree analogy. If you're not happy, move. And there was a cup. I was having coffee in the morning on the beach, and it said, if you are not happy, move. You are not a tree. And I was like, what an insightful message on a cup of coffee in Tortola, British Virgin Islands. And I posted it, and so many people said, oh, This is life-changing just looking at this silly cup message. But it's so true. And that's the same with your energy. So I just wanted to share that because I was like, oh my goodness, you're already like in my world.
I am. That's why I think I love this book, because I believe in it so much. I thought it was interesting here, though, in chapter 1, what you did is that you talk about constructive and destructive personal energy. But what I thought was interesting was when you said something to the effect that actually destructive energy doesn't have to be 100% bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, okay, Rebecca, you can't be saying stuff like that if you don't help us understand it. So help us.
Let me help you understand.
Yeah, please help us.
All energy levels have an advantage and a disadvantage. And so just like you said, faith, before you cross the street, you have that faith. That's also your body keeping you safe. That is what I call the safety zone. This is that level 1 energy. It's making sure you don't take risks when you don't need to take them. Should you get out of bed? Should you cross the street? Should you open your mouth and comment right now? Is that safe? Or is that risk a bit too much? And naturally, our brains try to keep us safe. They really, really do. This is why we have unconscious bias. This is where we have fear. This is where we have self-doubt. And it's important to recognize those emotions, those thoughts, and how your actions are impacted by them and where that does serve you. Because sometimes you need to sit there. If something's really horrible going on or you're sad, be sad. Own that. Be fearful. Own that. But then also realize that you have choices to make, that you can step out of that. But sometimes your body needs that. Sometimes your brain needs that. And that's why they say there's always advantages and disadvantages. And the same thing with conflict. This is that level 2. I call this the conflict zone. If someone's coming at you, a bear's coming at you in the woods, you're not like, where is the opportunity in this? I'm so positive right now. No, you're running, you're fighting, you need to use some tools that are very in the destructive energy zone, that combative zone. And so it's important to recognize when that serves you, when you need to sit there, and then when you don't.
So is this kind of like, I know you didn't say it this way, but I'm just thinking through this. Is this kind of like an intelligence, like we're going to go through the levels here, but
Yep.
as we go through levels, is it kind of like an intelligence that we can develop where we can use certain levels to our advantage as we grow and mature in our energy, our understanding of energy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure I got that right, but it's kind of how I'm
No,
thinking.
you're absolutely right, because you're in control of it. It's very different when your emotions take control of you and you wish you didn't do something out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different when you say, I am angry and I'm vocalizing this anger. I do not feel that was okay. That was not appropriate. Then you're using destructive energy. You're using that in a way to say something's not right. You're emotionalizing. You're emotional with you're internalizing it, and then you move forward. But your emotions aren't in control of you. Your thoughts aren't controlling you. This is about that control and that power of choice. And yes, as you practice this, you do get in more control. 100%.
So, I mean, I get it that we certainly want to be more constructive than destructive, right? I mean, certainly that's where we're headed down this path, as we're going to talk about the levels here. So how do we control our own personal energy?
First, understanding it. That's why the book is so important. And that's why I walk through those 7 zones, the 7 levels. Yes, the energy of success. It's because if you don't understand what you're working with, how can you make changes? That's like anything, right? You have to do an audit. You have to do an understanding. Where am I currently at? I think about anything, right? If you want to lose weight, you're like, what am I at right now? Where do I want to go? Anything you do, you need to understand where you're at. So it's understanding first to say, oh, this is what's occurring. These are my thoughts. This is how it's connected to my emotions. That's how it's impacting my actions. And then evaluate. I loved how you have the 4 in the beginning. Evaluate. Where are you at? What's your number? That's what the Energy Leadership Index assessment does. This is the assessment I provide. It tells you, here's your numbers. Here's what you're leading with. It's not who you are. It's just how you're experiencing the world, the lens you're looking through. When I give speeches, I pass out different glasses with different colors to every single person. So they understand that the lens they're seeing their world through, and I define them, can be constructive or destructive. And then I have them flip their glasses. Now you switched your lenses. And so when you understand first, then you know where you can go. Does that make sense?
No, it makes complete sense. You've got me thinking, because the colored glasses thing, I'm about to steal that going into a conference. I'm about to speak on mindset. So I'm stealing, just like
Just attribute it.
well, okay, listen, you're a professional speaker. You know how this goes, right?
Oh, yes.
The first time you go, well, Rebecca Ahmed said to me once, I use these colored glasses, and so I'm using this from her. The second time you use it, you go, well, I've heard it said that using these colored glasses will make my point more clear. And then the third time you do it, as I've always said, these colored glasses are going to make the point far more clear, right? So you know how that works.
Absolutely.
So I know it can be stolen. This is important, though, about leadership. And I think it's underestimated by leaders. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've done far more research. That leaders are probably not aware of how their energy is affecting their employees.
Yes and no.
Oh,
But I don't give leaders a lot of leeway, because I look at leadership as such a big responsibility, and it's an honor to be in that position.
Mhm.
And so I challenge leaders, myself included, to take responsibility of the impact you're creating to those that you lead.
Mhm.
And leadership can be defined in a lot of different ways. Every single person is a leader in one way or another.
Right.
But if you are leading a team, if you're leading a family, you're leading a group, it's so important that you understand how much your energy is impacting other people. It's not about ego. It's not about yourself. It's about that group, that community. And when you're able to really understand that, then you're able to help people grow.
I think what I was trying to say here, and I did it so poorly, was that I am not convinced that leaders are self-aware enough to know how much energy they're actually bringing into a room that's affecting their employees.
Yes, I agree with you on that. 100%. They're not as self-aware. 100%.
Yeah, because we both are coaches, and so we've walked into rooms where the leader talks and you can just feel the air go out of the room, or the tension in the room, right? And I'm like going, oh, wow, and you have to have that one-on-one with that leader, going, the energy you just brought into the room killed the room.
Yep.
I don't know that you're aware of that, and it's not to, by the way, it's not to hammer them. It's just to get them aware that, do you realize that your energy is killing your psychological safety, which you're going to talk about, right? Your energy is killing any openness of discussion, right?
It's destructive.
It's draining. Right. Yeah. No, it is. It's completely destructive. I just love that. I love where we're going here. Chapter 2 is the challenge, destructive energy. What is the link between energy and core values?
Oh, this is a good question. So when you understand your core values, you know who you are, you've defined them, you're able to live a life in alignment with them and make choices that are in line with what motivates you, your inner compass. So for instance, one of my core values is walk the talk. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I'm very, very conscious of that core value. What I realized is if I surround myself by people who don't have that same value, I need to either communicate that so their value will align with mine in the sense of respect. Oh, I respect her core value. Or, Rebecca, I'm going to communicate when I'm not going to do something. It might be a brainstorm session. It might be a thought. So then I'm not placing them in that same alignment. Authenticity. I've had, even family members recently. Oh, can you just give this little white lie? I said, no, I have to be authentic. If I gave that little white lie, I will be sick all night. I won't sleep. I won't eat right. So that's destructive energy. That's draining. If you're not walking your talk, if you're not living in alignment with those values, that's where that destructive energy comes in. And a lot of us aren't doing that, not because we realize it. Most of us don't even we don't do the exercise of the values. And then we wonder why everything's discombobulated and constantly working against us. It makes it more smooth sailing, I'm telling you.
Well, you're right, because I have been doing some research here. I'm writing my next book, and I have been doing research on core values and as it ties to authenticity and purpose. And so I've literally been going to different places asking people, tell me your top 3 core values. Do you know I have yet for anybody to tell me what their top 3 core values are? They go, I'll have to think about that. And I agree with you. if we are not clear on those, then how are you making decisions in life?
You're making them in the dark, and then you wonder why it's not working.
Thank you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then what kind of energy are you aligning yourself with if you aren't clear on what your core values are?
You're trying to run through quicksand. That's that destructive energy. You're constantly feel like you're drowning. You're trying to go.
Right. I know. But and yet these, and yet, you know what happens is though people are walking, in life, making decisions, doing what they do. And on some level, they seem somewhat happy. I just don't know how.
That's that level 3.
Mm,
How's home? Fine. How's
mm,
work? Fine.
mm,
How's the fam? Fine.
mm, mm-hmm.
Coasting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. We do that. This is beautiful. What a great discussion. Her name is Rebecca Ahmed. Her book, The Energy of Success, Power Up Your Productivity, Transform Your Habits, Maximize Your Workspace Motivation. We are just getting started, but oh man, it's about to get awesome. You're listening to her here on A New Direction. Folks, listen, you know what I say it every week, right? Epic Physical Therapy. I love them. I really do. Whether you're recovering from injury or surgery, suffering everyday aches and pains, maybe a professional athlete or athlete who just wants to move and in your sport better, listen, you know what? They're going to tailor make a program just for you. It's just not physical therapy in a box. It's just for you. When you want your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, don't look any further. Go to epicpt.com, EPICPT.com, and Linda Craft Team Realtors. For more than 39 years, she's been helping people transition in life. And you go, wait, I thought she's a real estate company. She is, but think about it. Every place you've ever lived has been a transition in life. Every one of them, right? From first apartment you had to the next apartment you had to the first house you bought, right? It's all been transitions. Well, she's been helping thousands of people take the stress out of that portion of the transition. So listen, when you're ready to sell your home, buy your home, and you're ready to make that next life transition, start with Linda Craft Team Realtors. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with Rebecca Ahmed. Her book, The Energy of Success, Power Up Your Productivity, Transform Your Habits, and Maximize Workplace Motivation. I love that last discussion before the break on how core values link, because I think it's so important. But in this chapter 2, you talk about the 4 emotions tied to destructive energy: anxiety, frustration, shame, and sorrow. Oh, not good. And I want to focus on the shame part. Help us understand destructive energy and shame.
Jay, close your eyes and think of when you've experienced shame. Where does that sit with you?
Oh, it actually turns my stomach a little bit.
It flips your stomach over. That
Yeah.
tells me where you carry it. I carry mine on my stomach too.
Yeah.
Some people carry it on their shoulders. Some people will carry it in their head. They'll give them a headache. It's such a powerful, destructive energy that it makes you sick. Even saying the word, just telling you for a second, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel shame. It feels sickening.
It does.
And it's so important to think about that, because what actions led to that shame? What caused you to lose control, where your energy took control of you, and you feel such shame? And it's a very destructive energy. And I think it's really important that we call that out. And I love that you called that out, because people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ugh, get rid of it. Get it out the door.
Yeah, but it's real.
It's real.
And shame has got this, is based in fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't think we understand what we're doing to ourselves when we hold on to shame. Because listen, I had to conjure up that memory, one of the memories of shame, and I have several. Okay, that I'm not. There's a bunch of not very proud moments for me that I'm ashamed of. Okay, but I've told myself I've moved on, right? Because I had to. You have to forgive, make amends where you can and move on. But if you make me think about it long enough, I don't, it's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah. But I love how you said, I had to make amends.
Yeah.
And this is such a difference, and you're a coach, so you know, difference between therapy and coaching, right? Is like actually dealing with those traumas, dealing with that past and really processing it. A lot of us don't process it. We'll put it in a box. Don't want to touch that box. Yeah. When you process it though, you can say, I felt this way. I did these things, but I also grew from it. And this is how I grew from it. And now I can look at that shameful moment as an opportunity of why I operate how I am today. I have tons of things I'm not proud of, but I'm so proud of the experiences I learned from those, and I've taken them forward. Yeah. And I don't carry that shame. I say this was a learning lesson, and now I can share that with others. I can share that in the sense of this is where I've grown. Take it or leave it, but I can tell you what I've experienced. But here's how you move through that, and here's how you move that through that energetically. So when you think of shame, you think of, ooh, that's where I was in that moment, but that's not where I am now.
Right. Right. Yeah. Why is it that so many of them happen in college? That's what I want to know.
Well, I coach Gen Zers, so I'm trying to help relieve that a little bit.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
But you just actually said it, Jay. Most college students, even though you said adults too, don't know their values. That's when we're trying to figure it out.
Right.
So you do a lot of stupid things. You try a lot of things, just not knowing, oh my goodness, if I put my values in alignment with my actions, I'm going to shave off a lot of shame. I'm going to shave off a lot of destructive energy because I'm going to be confident about my decisions and proud about them. Even if it didn't work, I know it was in alignment with my values. And so I can move forward.
Yeah. And what's interesting, you say that, and I'm thinking about college, and grad school even. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I think I thought I knew what my values were, but I certainly wasn't living up to them.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And which is interesting, right? I think because there is something that I have found out in this little anecdotal research that I'm doing, is that when I ask people what their values are, and then I say, go ask your friends and have them tell you what your values are, it's often not the same thing. It's
true. It's true. Yet if you vocalize what your values are, your friends will always know.
Right.
So much so that my partner uses mine against me sometimes.
Right.
Are you leading with curiosity? Are you looking to grow?
Right. Oh, I get it. Oh, I certainly get it. I'm
like, all right, babe, you're listening. I get it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, that happens in this household too, by the way. Why is negative energy so contagious?
A few reasons. Our brain actually, like scientifically, we have this bias built in. We have this connection to fear when something is different. So naturally, we try to share that with others from a mental standpoint. I'm not a scientist, but I find it fascinating that our brain is actually set up for this, especially when you're understanding biases. But then also think about how we operate, our media, all these things. It's constantly this like clickbait. Let me teach you something. Let me tell you something destructive. And so it spreads like wildfire because it is heavy. It is that strong. That emotion of shame that I just told you to close your eyes and feel is so heavy. If I tell you to close your eyes and feel a moment of joy, you will. But we've been so tuned and so trained to focus on that negativity. And that's why I'm trying with this book, with everything that I'm doing, to say we can focus. There are more levels in constructive zones than destructive.
Right.
So what if we lean towards that? What if that, when I tell you to close your eyes and feel that act of service or love or that climax zone or that synergy or that flow, that you get just as excited? Is this if we've been trained this way? And it didn't help that scientifically, apparently, we have, some issues going on with our brain too that tells you to like it.
Yeah, well, it does. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's a problem. The problem is our brain is actually wired to, as kind of in a protective mechanism, to be focused on the negative. Mm-hmm. And so it's like from a pure standpoint, the amygdala and hippocampus do nothing for us in terms of making things positive.
Thank you. Thank you for giving all the little words. It's like the brain, amygdala, hippocampus.
yeah, they really don't. They don't help us in terms of getting positive. And it's interesting It is easier for us to forget a win than it is for us to forget a loss.
Yep.
And we are much better at harboring resentment than we are at giving forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right? How destructive is that?
Extremely destructive. But that's that nature versus nurture we're talking about. Okay, so nature, right. We know what we got. Nurture, we know where we can go.
Right.
Acknowledge it, know where you're at, know that this is what comes with it.
Right.
But then where do you want to go? How do you want to use it?
Right. Yeah. And I think this is a good place to get into chapter 3, the journey. Mm-hmm. Shifting from destructive to constructive. So you talk about this, which I think is so brilliant on your part, by the way, Rebecca. It really is. How do we get people to make that shift from destructive to constructive? Because we know a lot of destructive thinking people. I mean, let's be honest, that we're surrounded by them every day. Mm-hmm. Right? I want to believe that I'm more constructive than I am destructive. I believe in positive energy, and one of my pillars is I am in control of my positive and my attitude, and it's going to be positive every day. It's just a pillar. It's a core value, positive attitude, right? And people are free to call me out if you don't see me have a positive attitude, but it's my choice. So how do we make that shift?
Yeah. One of my favorite energetic success principles is creating possibilities. We are our biggest no's. We are our biggest, oh, that's not possible. I can't do that. That's great for them, but it won't work for me. We say no to ourselves before giving ourselves a yes. And so I challenge every person to say, what would this look like different? What does happiness, what does excitement, what does living a life with energy look like for you? And that's why it's so important to understand where you're at. But most people can't see that because they can't even create that possibility in their mind. And I love you coach on mindset, right? So it's like creating that mindset of like, what would that even mean?
Right.
And that's where the work comes in. You've got to do the work. Just like you can't sit on the couch and say, I hope this absorbs.
Right.
Like I remember, I think it was Dane Cook. He was a comedian. And I remember when that book, what was it called? And it was all about positivity. And he laughed about it because he said, he was like, oh, I sat on the couch and I just put it next to me. It was like osmosis. He's like, I started eating the book. I started, it was just like, and I remember being like, that's so true. You have to put it into action.
Yeah.
You have to put it into action.
Right. Yeah. I think this is the thing. And you're so right. And it's baby steps sometimes, right? To steal a line from What About Bob? But it is really baby steps. But you have to take a step.
You have to take the step. Oh, the book was called The Secret. I remember that one.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
I remember Dane Cook. He's like, The Secret, but yes, you have to take the steps.
He sat on it hoping it would get osmosis.
Hoping it would just osmosisly come in and he would get the world he wanted because that's the secret. No, the secret was put action in.
Right. Yeah.
Understand where you're at and start making steps towards that.
Right. Your words and your actions need to be in alignment.
And your thoughts.
Yeah. Right. Thoughts, words, and action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will say, well, that's not what I was thinking. Okay, that's okay. But you would be so surprised how quickly you can shift your mind. And this coming from mindset.
Sure.
Even if you don't feel that way, to smile. Even if you don't, even if your thoughts are saying, I'm furious.
Right.
To take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. Power of the pause.
Yeah.
And you will start retraining your brain. That's what we learn through all of this work we've learned. We can unlearn what we've learned. We can change our mind. We can actually change our thoughts, which then changes our actions. We are that powerful.
And I have to tell you something. I know that this is going to sound strange to people. I thought COVID was a great test for this.
It was.
I thought it was, I felt like I probably grew more in the solidity of my values in terms of being positive, being grateful, right? Gratitude, which is a huge core value for me. Resilience, another core value. Effort, which is tied to excellence, another core value for me. Authenticity, another core value for me. But I felt I walked out of COVID saying, I know I'm better than I was when I walked in, because I felt like it was a great challenge
Mhm.
of do I believe what I really believe?
Mhm. Are you happy where you're at? Are
Yes.
you doing what you want to do? Are
Yes.
you connecting with the people that you want to connect with?
Right.
Are you just busying yourself and don't know who you are, and you now have to just be with yourself?
Right.
We learn so much, and so it gives me excitement for those who are continuing to take those learned lessons forward. I do frustrated when I see we're reverting in many places.
Yes.
Why are we going back to what we knew wasn't working?
Don't know.
The lack of creativity, the lack of spending the time to lead with curiosity and say, what were those nuggets that we learned and how can we flourish and water those to grow differently? What worked before really didn't work. We know that. So let's make some changes. And that is what Gen Z is doing. I will say, like, I love this upcoming generation, and every generation has amazing things to bring, but they're really questioning. They're looking at future, like, generations before them and saying, ooh, let me take the nugget here, but not that nugget. let me lead with values. Their number one question they're asking employers is, how do you bring your values to life?
Mhm.
Because they are doing those exercises in school. They are having those conversations.
Yeah. 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 It really is. It's really fun to watch this next generation. I know a lot of people find them challenging, and I can understand why you might find them challenging, because they're different
Mhm.
than all of us. And I can understand that from your point of view, but they're really fun to watch because they're asking questions we probably should have asked that we didn't.
Thank you. They're asking questions.
Right.
When people get upset about this, they're like, oh, I can't stand all these changes that are going on. And even the words, I'm like, they're just leading with curiosity.
Yeah. They're asking the questions we should have asked. We didn't have either the guts to ask them, or we just didn't feel that they're important enough to ask, and yet they were.
Yeah.
So we're about to get into Bruce Schneider's energetic self-perception wheel, and because we're going to get into the levels of energy here, and we're going to start at the base level. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a graphic here that you have here for us. So let me pull this up real quick. Here, there it is. And so help us understand through this graphic how we're going to be talking through this in terms of the level, level 1, which is going to be safety zone, and then level 2, of course, combative zone. Help us understand this graphic in terms of where we're going to be going here.
Yes. So Bruce Schneider has this beautiful graphic that kind of shows you how your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are all in alignment. And this is a simpler version of that. He also shares this so people can understand, when you're working at the bottom, what are you experiencing? Victim mentality. And as you work your way up, and I labeled them into zones very similarly so you understand where you're coming from. When you're feeling that level 2, you're antagonist. Level 3, that rationalizer. 4, you're a helper. 5, you're collaborating. 6, you're actually connecting. And 7, you're creating. And this goes through that in a way that maybe you can understand the words. I love to share different verbiages because they connect with different people. That's why I called level 1 the safety zone, level 2 the combative zone. It's how are you energizing yourself, or how are you experiencing that energy, and what lens are you looking through? Remember those glasses again. These are the lenses you're looking through.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and then let's talk about each as many as we can get through before the end of the show. How about that?
Yeah, perfect.
We'll do that. Her name is Rebecca Ahmed. Her book, The Energy of Success. Oh, power up your productivity, transform your habits, and for the love of all sanity, maximize your workplace motivation. It's a great book. Listen, it really is. Find it at Amazon bookstores near you. You're listening to her here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy. I love them. I say it all the time because I really do. I love the owners, and they're great, but I love all the people there. And they've helped me and my wife. I can't tell you, get our bodies going and back going when sometimes we've done stupid, and we just need to get them back going. And they've most top of the line equipment include like the Alter G anti-gravity treadmill, the Normatec compression sleeves, the Game Ready, my favorite. That's ice and water compression, all at the same time. They have the most comprehensive cutting edge treatments available, like blood flow restriction therapy, dry needling, cupping. That's just a few. Listen, when you're ready for your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, don't look any further. Go to epicpt.com. It's EPICPT.com. And Lincraft Team Realtors. For more than 39 years, they've been helping people all over the world. But what you need to check out is lincraft.com. I'm just telling you, if you want a one-stop shop to see what listings are available, how they can help you, people that they recommend in terms of doing work on your house or other sort of things. It is a one-stop shop. It is one of the most comprehensive websites that you'll ever see in real estate. I'm telling you, they can help you. Matter of fact, if you're looking for a job, guess what? Right there. It's all there, right? So listen, just go to lincraft.com. It's LINDACRAFT.com. You're going to love the website. I promise you will. And then tell them that, by the way, when you email them, tell them that you heard them on A New Direction. Okay? Awesome. We'll get to that. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend. I could call her friend. I'm going to call her friend.
Absolutely.
Rebecca Ahmed, the book, The Energy of Success, Power Up Your Productivity, Transform Your Habits, and Maximize Your Workplace Motivation. And we're about to get into the 7 levels of energy here. And I'm excited about this. This was so much fun when I was reading them. It was a blast. So safety zone 1, energy level 1, is what it's called. So the safety zone, and you had it, I think, on your list, victim mentality. So help us with level 1 energy.
Yeah. So level 1 energy, that safety zone, is your brain is telling you to be safe and it doesn't want to take risks. And so it's very easy to go into self-fear, self-doubt, deprecation. Absolutely, I'm not taking that risk. I'm not leaving the couch. I'm not leaving home. And you're sad. It's where your energy is the least serving you for the most part, unless if, of course, like I said, they all have advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, it's your checking, it's your gut check. Should I cross the street? Is it safe to do so? Should I do this action? Is it safe to do so? But when you're experiencing this, you're very exhausted usually. And that's that victim mentality. It's like, it's all about you. It's that ego. And it's lethargy. And so when we work our way from there, level 2, that's when you start getting combative. That's when you say, I don't want to just sit on the couch. I'm tired of that. I'm exhausted. I'm furious. I'm angry. I want to be angry. This is where stress sits. This is where a lot of stress sits in terms of that combative energy. And it can be very useful. I hear people all the time, I love to work on a deadline. I love to power through. That's the advantage of it, right? The disadvantages, can you run through quicksand for very long? No. These zones, level 1 and level 2, the safety zone and this combative zone, these are destructive energy zones, and they drain your energy. I like to compare this a lot of times to your phone. If your phone's not plugged in and it's about to die, you see that yellow battery sign. Nothing works. Your apps don't work. You're like furious with it. These are those destructive energy zones. When your phone is running on that low power mode and will not work. That's when you're running on low battery zone. And so when you plug yourself in, that's that bridge. You're starting to get to that level 3. That's that compromise zone. And I love level 3 because it can get you out of the funk. It can get you out of feeling that exhaustion. And it can get you to start seeing the world in a positive way. It's that silver lining. The challenge is so many of us sit there. And that was one thing, Jay, that I saw out of COVID, is so many people went to that zone because it was where they could sit and feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Don't rock the boat. Right. I'll be fine today. We're going to make it. It's fine. If you hear yourself saying that word fine, recognize that what you've probably done is there's a pain and a gain switch. If you turn off pain, you turn off gain. Right. And so you sit coasting. And it's so important to recognize that, because if you can sit there forever. People do sit there forever out of fear of going to that level 1 and level 2. You don't want to feel that. It hurts to feel it. We talked about shame earlier. You felt it. It's almost like you don't feel anything when you're fine. It's that coasting. And so that's why I also find it a very concerning energy level if you get too comfortable there. Level 4 is that service zone. That's that helper we saw in that chart. This is when you care for other people, your natural instincts. I've worked in hospitality and travel for so long. Your natural instincts is, who is it going to impact? I want to make sure the guest has an experience. I want to make sure every single person is experiencing something amazing. Are they okay? And it's great to give. And I'm such a proponent of this energy. It's a beautiful energy. But if you don't give yourself just as much as you give others, what happens? You go down to level 1 and level 2. That's that hamster wheel. Give, give, give. I'm exhausted. And then you're like, ugh, why did everyone take my energy? And then you tell yourself, you know what, Rebecca, you'll be fine. And I talk about these interplays in the book, this 4-1-2-3, 4-1-2-3, because it's a hamster wheel effect.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it. Everyone knows when they do that. They're like, I go home and I'm like, I don't want to talk to my kids. I don't want to talk to my partner. I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm closing my laptop. I'm going into my bed and I'm putting the pillows over me because I'm exhausted.
And I want to jump in here real quick because, this seems like to be a make or break point on burnout. But I also want to, because I see this also in a lot of the service industries, is compassion fatigue, right? Which is not to be confused with burnout. We discovered this, of course, in people who are dealing with doctors and nurses, but then we see people who are in the service industries where they go to work, they actually do their job quite well, but they no longer have compassion for people. They can't, there's no ability to have empathy with folks. And I think this is the thing that, because I brought it up in the show, service is great, but it only is going to take you so far, because then
if you're not servicing yourself, Jay.
Right.
When I work with people in these spaces, so hospitality, hospitals, as you said, my dad's a doctor. I work with a lot of nurses and doctors there too. We build in energetic breaks. And yes, we call them energetic breaks. I got rid of that word self-care for most of them because they looked at self-care as something negative.
Yeah.
Why would I don't have time for myself. I need to help everyone else. Okay, so let's go back to the phone. What happens if you don't plug that phone in? It doesn't work.
Right.
You don't plug your phone in and get jealous of your phone. You're not like, ooh, you're having a self-care moment. I can't believe you stupid phone. No, you're like, I need you to work. I need you to get some charge and be able to take me where I need to go. We are the exact same way. Plug yourself back in. And when you do that throughout the day, if you are a giver, if you are leading with level 4 energy, and if you give yourself the same care, the same compassion, the same empathy that you give others, you can give more. And you do it with excitement. You don't have that compassion fatigue. You can empathize with people more because you're there. We have to do this. This is so important, especially for those who lead with service. And I see their lives change. Literally, like lives change when they do this.
It's true.
Yeah.
Level 5 energy, curiosity.
Curiosity. I love this one. I find it so fun.
I can be honest with you, I do too.
Yeah, it's so fun because it's where all destructive energy actually completely shaves off. You are coming from a place to seek to learn and grow. You're not coming from a place of bias. You're not coming from a place of assumptions. Because even with service, a lot of times when you're in service, you're trying to problem solve. You're trying to help someone, which means there is a problem. Level 5 is not about a problem. All you do, and you know this as a coach, you ask questions. What's coming up for you? How are you feeling about that? Why is that causing an issue? At work, if something's going on with someone, rather than trying to fix their problems, a lot of times they don't need to be fixed. They're like, I don't need you to help me. I just need you to listen. I just need you to help me blossom and realize my own situation so I can handle it. And that's what that level 5 does. And leaders, if you lead with level 5 energy rather than 4, you will have so much more energy at the end of the day because you're watching people grow, which is going to tickle that service zone that you wanted. So you're still getting to be of service, but you're not giving. You're planting seeds. You're asking questions to help people grow. And that gets you that level 6, which is so fun. That's flow. Csikszentmihalyi wrote an entire book on it, right? Time flew by. Time has flown by as we're talking now. Because when you're so in synergy and collaborating, and this is where millennials love. I'm a millennial, so like we love collaboration. We took down office doors. We were like, open, office concepts. Let me throw something at you. Let me have this. We love that synergy. It's super fun. And you can really start when you're really in that synergy zone. That's when you hit those level 7s. Those are those hits of innovation. Those are those aha moments. Those are those out of body experiences where you cry and you laugh at the same time. When you're like, I solved this challenge. I invented something. This process is working. My brother says when he kicks, it's like, I see myself kick, but then I know I'm kicking. Like those are those moments that you have those climax. And that's so fueling that you're skipping out of work. You're skipping home. You're skipping everywhere because you're just like, you're on clouds. And so the disadvantage of those levels, because remember, I talked about that, is that you are more risk. I would say you're a bigger risk taker because you don't look at things as negative or positive. You look at them as opportunities.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you don't, there's some old sage wisdom that says it's neither good nor bad. It just is. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and so it's not a risk. Right. It just is. And you do have to be careful with that. I understand it.
Oh, 100%. I've done some ding dong things in level 5, 6 energy.
I'm right with you. Okay.
I'm like, we need to put those checks and balances in before I do that again.
Maybe. maybe. I don't know. I have a tendency to throw caution to wind at times. But I think, these last two, especially, right? Creative and climax zones. That creative zone is so important because when you get to that point of energy and collaboration and flow, it's why I love doing the show, right? I feel like I'm in level 6 all the time, and then I get to breach in level 7 because it's so easy, and I feel like I'm looking at myself, like I'm looking at you and me from above, right? It just is so, because I built for this. I mean, it's just what I know I love to do, and so it's beautiful. And I know, like Ramiz, right, is your brother?
Yes, Ramiz, my brother, number 7.
Yeah, number 7 with the Washington Commanders. Yes, football team just signed on June 4th. Just let everybody know. Watch him kick field goals. Yes. But he talks about it too, right? And getting into that climax zone, right? You have some things here: mindfulness, practice, purpose.
Yep.
Right, and which is really important. We've pretty much done our time here for an hour, and it's gone really, really fast.
Time flies. Level 6.
Yeah, at level 6, it happened real fast. Give people a new direction when it comes to energy. Help them come up with something. Give them a practical piece that will help them with their energy going forward today.
Read the book, of course, The Energy of Success. And I'm going to circle back to where you started today, Jay, with those 4. Evaluate where you are authentically. How is your energy serving you and not serving you? Pick one area. Pick one you want to focus on and start making those baby steps and actions, connecting your thoughts to your emotions, to your action. And in doing this, you're going to see shifts all around you, because just as contagious as negative energy is, so is constructive energy. You see it all the time. People are like, oh my gosh, life is so good right now. I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm so nervous something's going to fall, because it's just like, this is easy and this is exciting and money came on the floor. Like, it's like, and my partner laughs because he says all the time, he's like, you always find money on the floor. There's always good things. He's like, it's that juju, it's that energy of yours. I said, yes, because if you keep putting it out, it does return. Yeah. And so that's what I would say, is that go back to those 4 that you started with, pick one. Start connecting those thoughts, those emotions, those feelings to your actions. And the energy of success will come. That I can guarantee.
That's beautiful. Her name's Rebecca Ahmed. Her book is The Energy of Success, Power Up Your Productivity, Transform Your Habits, Maximize Your Workplace Motivation. Stay with me, Rebecca. Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you every week. You're in control of 3 things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. I know that life will deal you things, but you have a choice of how you want to respond to them. And that includes your effort, which is, your excellence. How excellent do you want to choose to be today? But it's also your attitude. You can be positive attitude. I didn't say it was easy, but you can have a positive attitude should you choose one. And you can. And you know what? We all get punched in the gut or knocked in the teeth. You know what? But it's up to you to get up. And so get back up because it's worth it. You're worth it. And I believe in you. We're going to be back next week with another great guest. It's going to be another great book, and it's going to be automatically another great show. You had a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you so much. Give us a positive review and a thumbs up on YouTube where you see us. As I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.